Are you successful? Welcome to the Live It, Lead It podcast, the brand new cast for business leaders, not only in IT, who want to achieve more in less time. If you're a leader in IT or you want to become one very soon, this is your program. If you are a business leader and you want to grow personally, this is your program. If you want to improve your own performance by simply live a better life, this is your program. Greetings from Europe to the successful people in the world. I'm your host, Olaf Kapinski. Let's start with a funny question. The question goes like this. Are you successful? And I hope that you instinctively just say like, yeah, sure. What's your point, dude? I mean, yes, I am. So let's deep dive into that. I make this podcast for successful business leaders or for people who want to become a business leader very, very soon. Those people have one thing in common. They want to be successful. People who want to get up in the hierarchy want to become successful. It's usually there is people who get up in the food chain, who get up in the hierarchy and really don't do much for it, but those are the people who this is not the program for them. So I'm talking here to the people who want to become better, who want to improve, want to become more valuable, who want to achieve more. So, and to the entrance question, are you successful? Here in Germany, not many people would instinctively say out loud the word yes. We are a bit modest on that, maybe like the British. And we would just, maybe, I don't know, that depends on what you mean. But deep in your heart, I believe we all can say, yes, we are successful. And this is a good feeling. This is really a very, very, very good feeling to feel yourself successful. That gives you confidence, that gives you the strengths that you need, and that gives you the motivation that you need if things just don't like as planned or as wished. What is success? Just general question. What's success? Do you have an answer for that? A very general definition of success is achieving goals. If you have goals and you achieve those goals, then you're successful. Quite simple. This podcast will go round and round and round of achieving goals. This is one of my main topics. We will talk a lot about communication and we will talk about a lot of achieving goals because this is what a business is about. A business is about achieving goals and be successful and preferably be more successful than your competitors. So achieving goals, that means you have to have some goals. I mean, it sounds a bit trivial, but when you talk to people, it's so often that they do not have goals or that they cannot explain and express those goals. What do I mean by that? And this is not the topic for today, when you talk about company and company's objectives, this is the huge field of devastation. This is where the disaster starts, because those objectives that standard companies, at least in Europe and in America, give out are worth nothing. This is crap like you have to increase your revenue for X%. This is not an objective because, and that's a topic of another podcast episode. Those objectives people may know, but are those the important objectives? There is a reason why I call the podcast Live It, Lead It. This podcast is not only about business, it is about you, because to me there is no difference. Are you a successful business leader? Sure, then you are a human being as well. This podcast will focus on both, on your leadership side and on your human being side. And I don't care which country you come from, I don't care what gender you have, I don't care what other preferences you have. We have a set of baseline for all human beings who is kind of the same. We all want to have fun, we all want to be loved, we all want to have appreciation, and now going back to the entrance, we all want to be successful, at least the people who listen to you. So being successful, achieving goals means you have to know your goals. Okay, so far so good. I hope you know the goals that you are aiming at. And as I said, this is a topic of a lot of additional podcast episodes. Find your goal, what is your goal, and go for it. And now going back to the initial question. Are you successful? Are you successful in business? If you are a leader already, are you successful as a leader? If you're not a leader yet, are you successful in what you do? I hope you say yes. Because if you say no, then you have a way to go. People who call themselves not successful will usually never get promoted. Because this is what the audience feels. This is what people around you feel. When you treat yourself as not successful, nothing will happen. You spread this out. Everybody can feel it. Everybody can sense it somehow. And successful business leaders are exactly that. They are successful, and that starts in our own brain. We treat ourselves successful. So now let's go into the crux of the question. Are you successful? I know from my professional and from my coaching history, lots of people who tell me, yes, I am successful. And I look into their CVs, and then they are 5, 6, 7, 8 years at the same position. And I'm like, okay, are you saying you're successful? Yes, I'm successful. Okay, you want to be promoted? Yes, I want to be promoted. Okay, but you are at the same position since 5 years now. Yes, and this is embarrassing. Yeah, it is. What's your point? Why are you not getting promoted? What's your point? And then the sentence comes. It's always the same, and it's some flavors of that sentence. The essence of the sentence is, my boss doesn't see my genius. And think about that. How often have you made things and you've got beaten up for those things, and you thought, but this is, you don't see the genius behind it. You don't see that this is the right deed. This is what should have been done, and now you beat me up. My boss is stupid. And now going back to the entrance question, are you successful? The question this is a two-bladed sword. You can call yourself successful if you want, and as I said in the beginning, I believe you have to call yourself successful to get in the right mindset. But there's a very, 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 very big important thing. There is only one person who can decide if you're successful. And that's not you. The one person who can decide if you're successful in a business context is, love it or leave it, your boss. Nobody else. So the question mainly goes to the wrong person. I don't care if you call yourself successful. If you're not getting promoted, if you're not getting more responsibility, if you're not getting more money, if you're not getting up, then obviously your boss doesn't call you successful. When we work in a company, and in German, we have the wonderful phrase, and I will just share those nice phrases with the world in this podcast as well. We call it abhängig beschäftigt. And that means mainly like dependently employed. That's the important part. Dependently. If you work in an organization, and it's not that you own the organization, but you work in an organization, an enterprise, a company, or whatever, then you are part of that. Majority of organizations have a hierarchical structure. So that means you have the commands that go from top to down. It's a little bit, and we can call it agile or whatever, but it's still, when it comes to the point, there is a hierarchy that looks very, very similar to the Catholic Church or to the armies, which we call the hierarchy. So in the hierarchy, getting up to the hierarchy, the organization decides who wants to be in what position or who has to be in what position of that hierarchy. So the organization has a look on the available resources, vulgo the people, and then the organization decides, okay, that person is very good there, this person is very good at the front line, this person is very good in managing a team, that person is very good in managing a group, and this person is the right person for managing this division. Okay. Now let's get away from this organization word, because it's a spooky ghost word. Organizations do not exist. It's only acting people. An organization does not exist. A company like Apple does not exist. Google is just an imagination. Google is a bunch of people who call themselves Google and who behave like one organism. A company, an organization does not exist. It's only the acting people. So, who is the representative of your organization? Exactly. Your boss. Your company is incarnated in the person of your boss, of your manager. When we agree on the statement that the organization picks the people for the positions, and either internally or externally, the organization can easily decide, sorry, we don't have the right people on board, we need to hire them. And then we're in the recruiting section. If the organization decides we need a new person for that position, then it's not the organization. Then it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 heads. It's real people who decide on that. Those people are the only ones who make valid statements on your success or not. If you're on your position for the last 5 years and you want to grow and you want to get up, they do not obviously call you successful. So are you successful? Sorry to say, but I don't care what you say. I only care what your boss says. Are you getting promoted? Are you getting supported? Are you getting more valuable? Means more money, more whatever. This is the only thing that matters when we are dependently employed in an organization. If you do your own business, if you work for your own success, if you have your own organization, then, even then, you have someone who calls it successful or not. Well, the customer. You always report to someone. And I hear a lot of people, especially the beginners, saying, oh yeah, once I'm a big boss, then I don't have to report to anybody anymore. Sorry to say, but that's not true. That's not true. You always have to report to anybody. If you are smart and you own a company, then you report to your customers. If you are something else, then you sold your whole company to on the stocks market and you don't own nothing anymore, and then you report to so-called analysts, and which are mainly the representation of just some stupid computer programs who own your company. And I am not going into that direction right now. So if you are an employee and you want to grow, make sure that you know who is your boss. And if you are in a very small company, then this sentence may sound a bit crazy. In bigger organizations, in larger organizations, where you have those famous matrix organizations from the 80s, then you may have 2, 3, 4 people who are responsible for your promotion. Make sure that you know those folks. Make sure that those people know that you want to grow. And then make sure that those people treat you, feel you as one of them. Go into you need to be seen as someone who is promotable. Nobody wants to take the blame and, promote you or propose your promotion, and then everybody in the room says, that person, no, dude, no. That is not a good position to be in. So if there is any doubt, nobody will propose you. So make sure that you know who promotes you. Make sure that you are in contact with those people. Make sure that those people treat you successful. And make sure that they know that you feel yourself successful and that you want to be more. Only when that then happens and you are then get promoted. Then in my world, when we're talking about business leaders in organizations, only then you can call yourself business-wise successful. This is the first thought in this podcast, which starts at 2018 internationally. Go to liveitleadit.com or write me an email, olaf@liveitleadit.com in one word. And I have reserved all the other domains as well. Sure, it's an IT dudes podcast, so this kind of works. And then just click fast forward because the next episode is coming. Have a very good time. Yours, Olaf.